Okay, so we've been looking at Martin Luther King and different constructions. We're going to talk about websites. And when I went on this morning to the web, I pulled up a bunch of different websites. They were on the first page of Google, which of course most people, including young people, they won't go beyond the first page. So this website was on the front page. I want you to take time looking at it while I'm talking. The title of the website is martinlutherking.org. Does that sound credible as a website?
Sounds right.
Sounds? Well, what sounds credible about that website? martinlutherking.org. .org sounds credible. Anything else?
It's just the name. There's no like Martin Luther King fans or anything like that.
It's his name, .org. So yeah, it sounds. So on first blush, what do you think this is targeted towards, this website?
Students.
What makes you say students?
Attention students.
Attention students. What else lends this to being targeted towards young people?
I mean, it has like quizzes, it has like raps and
Rap,
videos and
pop
stuff like
quiz. Very good. Now keep looking, and I want you to think about the point of view. What are some of the messages here about Martin Luther King? I want you to think about some different parts of the website and what some of the messages might be about Martin Luther King. Anybody? Messages about King in this site. Yeah.
Negative.
Where do you see negative messages about King?
When you look over to the side, there's the paragraph, and it seems to be trying to disgrace his image.
And I want to insert right now a recognition that some of this is pretty heavy stuff in some ways, in terms of, as you'll often find on the internet, and we'll come back to that a little bit at the end. So things trying to disgrace King. Anything else that, yeah?
Also, it says truth about King as if he wasn't honest or we don't know the actual truth.
Very good. So it's bringing doubt, yeah?
that. I mean, there's little bits at the bottom, like black invention myths.
What does that mean, black invention myths?
Lies about things that like African American people invented and stuff.
Yeah. But they're calling them myths. What does that imply?
That they're all just lies. Like they're kind of implying about Martin Luther King himself, about not knowing the truth about it, not knowing the actual story.
Excellent. And Francesca, you were going to say something else?
No, that's fine, but there's just more at the bottom also, like why the King holiday should be repealed and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what I find interesting is it looks really credible at first glance with these pictures and the .org and the true historical examination and all of these little things, and then you kind of start looking closer and you see why the King holiday should be repealed and a bunch of negative images.
Let's jump in on one other one. Civil Rights Library. And then below that, Jews and civil rights. Who led the civil rights movement? What's this website implying about the civil rights movement and the leadership of the civil rights movement?
Just kind of hinting on like sort of the Zionist society.
The Zionists or the Jews somehow led, is that true, that Jews led the civil rights movement? I thought it was African Americans who led the civil rights movement, including Martin Luther King. Now, given what we've just, who do you think might be behind this website? Who do you think might be behind this website?
Probably a white supremacist group.
Raise your hand if you agree. Okay, why? Why would it be a white, why are you deducting that this is probably a white supremacist group behind it? You see?
One of the big indicators would probably be the Jews and civil rights. A lot of white supremacist groups often draw from Hitler's ideologies.
Yeah. Great. Anything else that leads you to think this might be a white supremacist group? A lot of the things certainly that we've just said. So in fact, yeah, Gintana.
I was going to say another thing would be the black invention myth. It's trying to put down their inventions.
Why would a white supremacist group put up this site on the internet? Why would they put up this site?
Probably to people are learning about Martin Luther King and probably to give their historical point of view and kind of bring people to learn kind of the not great things about him.
And to present that point of view and that perspective. that white supremacist perspective. A lot of it.
Yeah, to undermine Martin Luther King, and who is viewed as one of the most famous civil rights activists.
Yes, yes. So in 1993, Don Black, the head of Stormfront, one of the most important white supremacist group in the country, purchased the URL martinlutherking.org very early on in the internet. Why did Don Black purchase the URL martinlutherking.org in 1993? Yeah.
Because it has a sense of credibility.
And this has been one of the most popular sites about King. Do you think many young people, say early elementary or middle elementary, going to the site would be able to identify the credibility of this site? No, and in fact, how about the URL? martinlutherking.org. That looks pretty good. So what does this imply about what young people need to do when they go to the internet? What do they need to do when they go to the internet?
I mean, they have to be careful, but they also have to be informed. They need to be taught how to navigate the internet. And it's not just about staying away from these sorts of sites, it's about being able to identify biases and identify the credibility of the sites as well.